if you want to build an aesthetic body, one where you look in the mirror and you say, damn, one where you get out of the pool and people stare at you, this video is for you. I'm Fredster. I went from skinny fat to my dream body, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I did it and how you can do it too. The first thing you want to understand is that you need a muscular base, which basically means under your skin you have like a good bit of muscle. The best way to do this is through resistance training, which is literally where you're just pushing against a resistance. Imagine you're bench pressing, you're pushing the weight up. That is a resistance because gravity is pushing it down. You're trying to push it up and you're fighting that force. Or imagine pull-ups, you're pulling your body weight up and gravity is pulling you down, so you're fighting that resistance of gravity. You could literally be pushing against a wall, a flat wall, and still build muscle if you're trying hard enough. When your body pushes against that resistance and you push hard and you try, you create little micro tears in your muscles that will heal in a couple days and will cause your muscles to grow back a lot bigger. So in your resistance training, you want to be doing what's called progressive overload. This is basically where you increase the difficulty of exercise you're doing. So if I'm bench pressing 100 pounds one day, and a little while after that, I want to be bench pressing 135. This is a more difficult exercise that puts more stress on your muscles, but it won't feel much more difficult to you because you will have already gotten stronger and gotten more muscular. If you try to keep doing the same weight forever, it will become way too easy. Like if I'm bench pressing 100 pounds and I'm still doing that a year later, my muscles are so used to it that it won't build anything more. The whole point of progressive overload is to increase the stress you place on your muscles over time so that they keep having to grow and get stronger. Second, you want to focus on the muscles that actually look good. So some dudes will work out all willy-nilly at random and they'll grow some weird looking physiques. I had a friend in high school that was a wrestler, and my English teacher called his ass out for basically having the weirdest build ever. We were reading a short story about this famous wrestler, and he was described as a turtle, weird-looking, ogre-ish guy. And my English teacher said, wow, that looks just like James. And that is because James did not work out the right muscles to actually look good. Here are the most important places you should be working out: shoulders, back, forearms, upper arms, and chest. Notice how legs are not on this list. No girl in the world has ever said, I love a guy because of his huge, thick, meaty calves. No one's ever said that, and maybe that's just my excuse for not training calves. So most important are shoulders. This is honestly the make or break of your physique. If you're super muscular, but you have small shoulders, you're gonna look super weird. But even if you aren't really muscular and you have big shoulders, you're gonna look a lot better. They give you this illusion of looking way more jacked than you actually are if you have big shoulders. You train this through things like shoulder press, lat raises, rear delt flies, etc. The second most important group is the muscles in your back. Both of this and your shoulders give you this V shape that is super aesthetic. Without exception, every single aesthetic physique has this V shape. You need it to look aesthetic. And especially nowadays, having a thick back has become kind of a trend. It used to be the chest where people are talking about, wow, look at his chest, it's so full and so round and so big. Nah, that's out. It's 2025 now. People are talking about, look at his thick back. There's two really important muscles in your back you want to focus on: your lats and your traps. Lats give you the V shape and traps give you kind of a thicker look. Lats you build with things like pull-ups, rows, and traps you build with things like shrugs. Third most important is forearms. This is the one you see pretty much the most thirst traps of online, because if you have forearms, you probably do, they're showing basically all the time. Whenever you're in a short sleeve t-shirt, they're showing. Whenever you're shirtless, they're still showing. The only time they're not showing is if you're in like a thick jacket. So having big forearms is pretty important. You train this by doing anything that involves grip strength, like hanging from a bar or doing farmer's carries where you're just holding weights relying on your grip alone. I just recently bought a loading pin to specifically target my forearms, which is like I grab something and I try to pull it up using my grip alone. There's no other factor. All right, I'm yapping now. Okay, next is upper arms. These are things like your biceps and your triceps. I don't even think I need to cover why these are so important. You already know, they don't need an introduction. So you train these with things like bicep curls, hammer curls, tricep extensions, and skull crushers. These 4 exercises alone will build you huge arms. Huge! Finally is the chest. This one's important because it kind of rounds off the rest of your physique. Usually when someone takes their shirt off, that's kind of around where your eyes hover naturally, like the chest, the lower neck, unless you're making crazy eye contact with them all the time. And plus, it's the most fun muscle to train too, because you get to do things like bench press and flies and dips. Oh, and also, if you have like a really small chest and a muscular physique, you're gonna look super weird. So you kind of need it to round off your physique. You need it to be there. It has to be proportional to the rest of you. And finally, honorable mention, don't neglect legs. Even I train legs, and I hate doing it. But if you have like really small legs and a huge upper body, you're gonna look like one of those weird stick figure drawings that little kids make when they're like 3 years old. You do not want to do that to yourself. It is torture. Now, I really need you to understand that you cannot outtrain a bad diet. If you want to look aesthetic, bro, I'm sorry, you can't be fat and you can't be overly skinny. You have to be somewhere in the middle. If you eat like shit, it's gonna catch up to you and it's gonna be really hard to build muscle. You're gonna gain fat and you're not gonna look good. If you barely eat anything at all, then it's also gonna be really hard for you to build muscle and you'll kind of look like a twig. You need your protein to build muscle. So the standard advice is to do 1 gram per pound of body weight per day. So I'm 165 pounds, I will eat 165 grams of protein per day. If you can't hit this number, it doesn't make like a huge difference. That's just kind of the fitness industry standard. Like if I had 120 grams of protein per day, it wouldn't make like a crazy big difference. Or if I had 200 grams per day, that would probably be better, but it wouldn't make a crazy difference from 165 either. Basically, just try to hit your protein goals, bro. 1 gram per pound body weight per day, somewhere around that. I'm not going to overload you with a ton more diet info because, to be honest, you have been learning this since birth. Eat a balanced diet. Get good proteins, moderate fats, and moderate carbs. You need the protein to build muscle, the carbs to fuel your workouts so you can train to build the muscle, and you need fats to regulate your hormones so you can build muscle. You already know the protein gym head stereotypes where it's like, oh, protein, muscles, where you just get in your protein. You already understand it. Eat a good amount of meat, eat a good amount of fruit, eat a good amount of vegetables, and you will be good. And then finally, you want to eat around your maintenance calories. I'll put a link in the description to a maintenance calorie calculator so you can find this. I'm not sponsored. I have 600 subs. I'm a small channel, so don't even stress about that. If you eat a lot more than your maintenance calories, then you're gonna gain a bunch of weight and get probably fat. If you eat less than your maintenance calories, it's gonna be way harder for you to build muscle because your body doesn't have the energy to do it. So my maintenance calories is around 2,400 per day. So I would eat 2,400 calories per day every single day until I reach the physique that I want. Good luck, bro. You got this. Here's a hug. Start that journey. In the future, comment as well. Bow, bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow.